And now for something slightly different. Even I, in my presently embittered state, can't keep up a steady stream of uploads that are far too serious and angry. So today I thought I would share some stories, and I've been spending some time online looking for work-related horror stories. Today I'm going to present you one of my favorites, plus I'm going to share one that it inspires from my own personal catalog of strange work occurrences. Assuming that these stories turn out to be popular, I think I'm going to make this a regular occurrence. So I'll be looking forward to your feedback in the comments section if you like what you're hearing. Welcome to Pernicious Chattel. I'm XCG, and this is episode number 3. The first story I'm going to share today is entitled, When You Must Never, Ever Chicken Out, and it comes from workable.com. So let us begin story time. A few years ago, I took a marketing position in a UK-based company. After a brief training, I realized that I had to carry a wooden sign in a supermarket every day and stand there and promote various products. There was no specific time schedule. I could stay there as long as I wanted, so long as I reached my sales goals. At the end of the day, we would all gather at the company's offices. Our manager would step in while speakers played the song Pretty Green Eyes at maximum volume, and then the show would begin. We would ring a bell and have a cheery round of applause for everyone who reached their goals. But what about those who had almost reached them? We would form a circle around that person who would have to stand in the middle of all of us and act like a chicken, because apparently they had chickened out instead of hitting the targets. Oh, and if anyone's phone rang in the middle of this show, they'd immediately have to drop and do 10 push-ups. End of story. So yeah, that sounds completely ridiculous, but also horrifying in a my manager is a sociopath with all the imagination of a Sunday school teacher kind of way. On the other hand, I would imagine it was not completely ineffective. Not sure that I would be terribly emotionally motivated by the bell and applause. But personally, I've found avoiding humiliation as a fairly good motivator to effort. On the other hand, I don't think they took it nearly far enough, because to really maximize the results for me, I'd suggest that they add another tier exceeding your targets, achieve that tier, and you can skip the end of day gathering altogether. In my own career, I've had an opportunity to be a part of a number of ill-conceived team building events. One of my favorite memories, for pure cringe factor, was our annual Family Day event. And this was when I worked in Korea. Now don't get me wrong here. I loved Korea, and I really enjoyed working with Koreans. But there were certain parts of their culture that left me feeling like a pimply 13-year-old boy in a Speedo who just accidentally walked into the girls' changing room. You know, really embarrassed, and yet completely fascinated. Korea, like most of Asia, has a collectivist culture where getting along with your group is far more important than any individual identity. But it gets a bit more formal in Korea, as mandatory military service is required for all men. As a result, they become professional cuers, and they seem to just love a bit of military drilling. As our Family Day involved the better part of 500 people, had a mere 4 or 5 foreigners present, and was organized by the Korean staff, it became a fully scripted affair that left me feeling as if I'd been conscripted into an absurd branch of the Korean military. Literally, the whole day was planned, down to the minute, and included cute Korean girls in cute, yet revealing outfits, who shouted orders at you via bullhorns all day. Even lunch was only 20 minutes, starting and ending on the planned minute. As a result, I found the whole affair off-putting, irritating, and, to be completely honest, wholly fascinating. The highlight of every Family Day was the evening's entertainment, where the company would splurge on some allegedly famous K-pop band to entertain the troops. Like everything else, the seating for the show was planned, Myself, as a member of the management team, was always seated at the table in the center front of the venue. That would have been fine if I could have stayed in my seat and passively took in the entertainment. But, unfortunately for me, and my introverted personality, I was regularly selected as a feature event within the entertainment itself. Without fail, every single year, the band would inevitably spot me, a skinny and relatively young white guy near the front, and decide that clearly everyone would be completely thrilled if I were dragged against my will onto the stage. Next thing you know, I would be up in front of an audience and being told, in Korean, which I do not speak, to perform some trick or other. It was unequivocally embarrassing and a bit traumatizing. By far the worst of these incidents was the year where the entertainment was some girl group who, as expected, immediately decided to drag a Turkish colleague and myself up onto the stage for a bit of let's make the foreign monkeys dance. Under other circumstances, getting attention from this group of ladies would have been quite appealing, as they were very lovely, if also a complete set of clones. They immediately launched into one of their popular numbers and through shouts in Korean, accompanied by gesticulation, encouraged us to dance along. By this point, I was so thoroughly out of my element that I began to have what only can be described as an out-of-body experience. Seeing myself trying to comply as if I were someone completely different standing on the side of the stage. Let me tell you, observing the results was not pretty. I'm not coordinated at the best of times, and in this case I was reminiscent of a giraffe having grand mal seizures. Anyway, it is my sincere hope that the team, at least, was motivated by Family Day. I can confirm that I was not. But at least the lingering after effects should be treatable with enough psychotherapy. And that is my story. If you enjoyed it, please poke the like button and don't forget to subscribe. This is XCG wishing you Godspeed on your journey to freedom.